In 1988, Namco delivered a hack-and-slash beat-em-up hybrid to the arcades in the form of Splatterhouse. In it, you star as Rick, a college student who finds himself within the hellish depths of West Manor, with the Jason Voorhees-like terror mask affixed to his face, in desperate search of his girlfriend Jennifer. While several sequels have been spawned since Splatterhouse's inaugural entry, we're going to take a look at the franchise's sole 8-bit chapter, released in 1989 exclusively for the Nintendo Famicom. Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti, which translates to Splatterhouse Naughty Graffiti, begins in a cemetery with a bawling Jennifer mourning over her main squeeze Rick's freshly covered grave. A bolt of lightning strikes, reviving Rick, who is sporting the terror mask. Before Jennifer can even mutter necrophilia, another jolt of lightning zaps the adjoining marker, which revives the infamous Pumpkin King, Charlie Brown.
Oh, good grief.
With a chuckle, the evil floating jack-o'-lantern absconds with Jennifer and hides her in his secret lair, Hell House, where she is to remain prisoner. This can only mean one thing. Armed with an axe, Rick must hack his way through 7 terrifying stages to rescue his beloved. Or you could say terrifyingly cute, as Wanpaku Graffiti employs an SD or super deformed aesthetic, where the characters have cute oversized heads on top of miniature bodies. Popular in Japanese culture, SD-style sequels or spin-offs of renowned franchises are commonplace. Mighty Final Fight is a perfect example. In this edition of Splatterhouse, Rick trades the beat-em-up tropes of its predecessor in favor of platforming. Ascending through stages, jumping over traps, all of the while hacking through monsters is the name of the game. While the jumping mechanics can be a bit slippery,
hey, way to go, Banana Heels!
It doesn't take long to adapt, and you'll have it down in no time. And since you're always armed with an axe, additional weapons are non-existent save for the shotgun, which has a bit of a kick to it, but lays waste to anything in its path. This is a handy item to keep those fiends away, because when Rick takes damage, there is only a split second of invulnerability, meaning that enemies can spam the hell out of you. One of my biggest pet peeves in gaming, this is another aspect of the game that can take some getting used to, but is definitely not a deal breaker. But depending on your life bar, this can translate into some cheap deaths. Luckily, the life bar can be increased as the game goes on by earning experience points by defeating ghouls. You begin the game with a measly 4 units of health and only 1 life. Yes, that's right, 1 life. If you die, it's game over. But each time you collect enough experience points, you will then gain another unit of health up to a maximum of 16. Mercifully, pieces of candy and burgers will replenish health, but with only 4 continues at your disposal, or basically 4 lives, finishing the game can be quite a harrowing task. Thankfully, your health bar remains powered up when continuing, although the experience points collected for your current level resets to 0. The same can't be said for Wanpaku Graffiti's password system, unfortunately. Each stage begins with the 4-digit password to continue from that particular level. The caveat is that when you begin each stage using passwords, your life bar is set to a fixed number of units versus the amount of life you had accumulated up to that point. The key to completing the game is to fully power Rick up and complete his adventure within the 4 continues afforded to you from the very beginning. While you are awarded 4 new continues each and every time you use a password, despite which stage you begin from, the experience you had earned up to that point does not carry over. But this in no way, shape, or form detracts from the game itself. The environments in which you find yourself in Wanpaku Graffiti are by far one of the highlights packed within this strange Japanese game. From the chilling boneyard of Stage 1 to the macabre innards of Hell House, this horror/action adventure combines the spooky aesthetics found in typical Halloween tropes with adorable SD protagonists and antagonists alike. Despite how cutesy this game appears, it would have never made it past Nintendo of America's censors.
I don't think you can do that.
But damn it, it freaking works, as graphically, Splatterhouse pulls off the SD/horror combination splendidly, even utilizing a ton of parallax scrolling throughout. And check out the way this candle flickers in the dark. Way too cool. And boy is this game loaded with baddies. Many reprise their roles from the original, accompanied by a whole slew of new demons and mini-bosses, especially in the game's more epic stages. Many of the levels are fairly long, almost like 2 or 3 stages in one, while others are relatively short. The levels can be a bit inconsistent in this regard, but this is definitely not a gripe, merely an observation. But the music without a doubt fits these stages superbly, and the eerie horror-themed soundtrack perfectly complements the game's setting, just like in Sweet Home. Now that's some damn fine company to keep with. And Wanpaku Graffiti doesn't take itself seriously. The game is brimming with numerous pop culture and horror movie references. Diamond Lake is no doubt an homage to Friday the 13th's Crystal Lake, and several of the bosses are straight out of horror cinema, such as The Fly. Frickin' love that movie. The one with Jeff Goldblum. And quite possibly the most famous nod in the game goes to Michael Jackson's Thriller. I cannot recommend Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti enough. The combination of cutesy, super deformed characters coupled with a horror theme which is the very embodiment of All Hallows Eve is irresistible. The game is the ideal length for the type of platformer that it is, with 7 challenging stages and even a couple of secret ones, which when beaten, allows you to see an alternate ending, which is absolutely great. I'm not going to spoil it for you here, cause it's really good. You gotta see it for yourself. Now, the price of the original Famicom cart has been climbing steadily, so pick this one up before it gets too outrageous. Of course, repro carts are also available for both the Famicom and the NES, and the prices can vary on those. Repros are generally translated into English. But the bottom line is this: Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti is a challenging little platformer that doesn't take itself too seriously, and neither should you. It's a ton of fun and is ideal for enjoying throughout the Halloween season.